Welcome to Heinz Seniors Coaching Up. Get access to the P3AK High Intensity Training ebook and its exclusive video tutorials. Commit with Heinz's coaching right now and be provided with a year of meal plans, training programs, and more. www.p3akday.com. There is no room for the littles.
She was killed. And they tried
the top
to
six
cover it
girls
up.
really look great, but you seem to have that perfect aesthetic
I wasn't
look.
into hip hop or even soul music.
There are definitely people that need a little Viagra.
Welcome back to Iron Rage. And happy Halloween! It's the Joker! And today we are joined by Zack King Kong. And who's that in Australia? Is that the rat? Look at that rat as it wring its neck.
Hello.
How's it
Hello.
going, Zack?
Hello. Did I hear Viagra?
My evil minion here. Baxter.
Did I hear the word Viagra?
Oi.
Viagra is good for my tail. Look, makes my tail stand up.
Lee Priest, what is going on there in Australia? Is it Halloween yet?
No, Halloween's on Sunday, which also happens to be my wedding anniversary.
Oh, very funny.
I dressed up as a groom on 3 years ago, and who knew I was getting tricked into marriage? I thought it was a Halloween party.
Anyways, Batman. Zack. What's going on? You're looking very large and in charge.
Sorry, I'm back. The Batman is back.
Batman is back.
You have to excuse Dave, Zack. Excuse Dave, Zack. He's sort of.
I'm looking for that Palumbo guy.
He hasn't had his medication today. This is what happens.
This mask will be available also for purchase at RxMuscle.com. If you want. The Zack King Kong mask will also be available for purchase.
Okay, well, hurry up and take the mask off so we can start the show.
My son put some crazy glue on. I can't get it off. Sorry. You're going to have to endure it for the length of the show. All right. First of all, I want to welcome back Zack to the show. And, every time we have Zack on, Lee, with us on Iron Rage, we get very high ratings. People like his opinions. They think that he might be actually more honest about his opinions than you are, actually, Lee, if that's possible.
No. Until you've had all your accounts suspended, you've had your Instagram taken away. Look,
How many times have you been suspended, Zack, from Instagram and Facebook?
9 times.
Oh, he might have you beat, Lee.
No, I had mine permanently taken. You can't beat that. Like 10 times is still the warning. Once they take it, then you're gone.
Oh, no, Lee. 9 times like this been deleted. 9 times been deleted.
Well, you got me beat.
My name went from Zack King Kong to ZKK is back. ZKK is back again. ZKK is back again and again.
Now, what did you say, Zack, that actually got you deleted from these social media sites?
Every time it's different things, So last time it was because I called somebody a cunt. So
What? Hey, I called someone this morning on your thread on RX about Sean Clarita.
Right.
I called a guy on there today a tard, and like 5 minutes ago I got a warning from Instagram. This has been removed going against the guidelines because I called a guy a tard.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you know what it is. My account and your account are flagged.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's automatic. It's automatic. So this was this one. I call somebody a pussy boy, and straight away I cried. So now I can't write the word cunt, so I have to put a C and a picture of a hand. So I have to.
I do the same thing. I can't even write fool now. I've got to write fool, but space it out like F space O space O. It's like anything I write. I'm just joking with my friend sometimes. I called my friend an idiot. Yeah. I got a warning for calling my friend an idiot.
Oh, you're not even allowed to even insult anyone. In other words,
do you know? Was it? What year was it? When I came to England to do seminars and the UK BFF hated me. I almost got Zack suspended from the IFBB back then because he was going to come do a seminar with me.
Oh, really?
Remember that, Zack?
Yeah, because the thing was this second. We don't want you talking to that Lee priest. I was like, what the hell is going on?
You know why they didn't want you talking to Lee Priest, Zach? Because you're like right on the edge of possibly being suspended. So they figured if you and Lee got together, you'd certainly get suspended. So they were trying to preserve your status, I think. You know?
The problem we've got is like, you know, in the UK, we've got too many arse lickers for federation. So instead of like winning the shows on how you look, your people are winning shows on whose arse they're licking.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
So you got people going to judges' gyms to get posing, to get nutritional advice, and they're getting tagged on posts and stuff like that. Then there's people out there who can't afford these services.
Sure.
And all what's happening is it's basically causing a big segregation. You know what I mean?
A rift.
So
There's a rift. Yeah.
You know, like no federation should be posting certain competitors' pictures on their Instagram all the time.
Absolutely,
you're
right.
No judge should be commenting on people's pictures and saying, "Oh, you look well, you look great."
Right. Of course.
You know?
Imagine that in any other sport, like ice skating or anything, any Olympic sport, anything. It's like you wouldn't be able to compete if that was going on with judges saying. I remember
a better analogy is if you're going on trial for murder and one of the jurors, you know, is posting on an Instagram site about saying how terrible this person is, they should go to jail. You don't want that guy on your jury because obviously they've already made the decision up before they even saw the case. You know.
Yeah, it's like being in the Olympics, and you see a woman, you know, a woman athlete, and you're the judge, and you're going, "Oh, that's a nice snatch." You know?
Ding!
We just got dinged with that one.
Hey, he was talking about powerlifting. What are you on about? He was talking.
I know.
One of the lifts. One of the lifts is a snatch. So you know that's what he's talking about.
You know what? I was saying it. You know, we live in such a cancel culture now that anything you say that is with these cancel culture police believe is politically incorrect is automatically it's like a mob mentality. Like no one has a sense of humor anymore, and it's almost like. You know, it's almost like it was back in Nazi Germany where families would actually rat each other out if they weren't listening to the rules or they were harboring, you know, people they shouldn't have in their house. And it's kind of getting like, I'm kind of like disgusted almost with a lot of people out there because no one has a sense of humor about anything and you can't say anything critical about anyone. I mean, if you can't call someone a fool on Instagram because they're acting like a fool, I mean, what happened to freedom of speech? Where are we now? How much worse is it going to get? That's what I say.
Worse.
Yeah, the thing about it is, Dave, you got idiots saying, "Well, write stupid things on your post," and you can't defend you.
No,
exactly.
You, number one, somebody's coming out of their way to insult you, and they don't even follow you,
right.
And then you're saying to that person, "Don't follow me, you twat." And then you're getting flagged up. Right.
Twat is a funny word. I don't take it as offensive. It's a funny word. You called them a twat. Why can't we use? Why can't that stay? I mean, it's humorous.
Every time I got in trouble was because I was defending myself. Somebody would come on and say something. I would reply back to them, and then they'd go report me.
It wasn't like you were bullying them. If anything, they were bullying you, and you were defending yourself. You know?
Exactly.
You know, they should come out with a social media platform, basically, you know, where people, if they're following you on your platform, you should have the rules of your platform, so of your page. So you should be able to post what you want, say what you want, and somebody's not happy, see you later.
Right.
Simple as that. You're not saying to somebody like, oh, follow me, listen to me. It's like somebody coming into your house and you say to them, oh, can you take your shoes off? And they'll say, no, I'm not taking my shoes off. I'm walking around with mud on it all over the place. They'll be like, fuck off. Same way,
It's like,
you're posting something, they don't agree with it. Well, you know what? Nobody's telling you to write anything on there. Nobody's telling you to have dialogue with me. Go and see you later.
Yeah,
exactly. I tell them the same thing. I'm like, if I post something you don't like it, you're allowed to just read it and then just keep scrolling. Don't reply. Or if you don't like what I write, don't follow me. It'd be like these people it's like people watch this show, then they complain about it. It's like, don't watch it. It'd be like me watching porn and going, oh my God, I'm so offended. I just saw a vagina and cock. I can't believe it. That was on the porno. Fancy that. It's like, if you know what we're about and you don't like our attitude or you don't like us as people, why follow us? Because I'm sure, Zach, there's lots of sports you don't like. I don't like tennis, but I'm never going to follow, like Andy Murray or someone and go, Andy Murray, you suck. You can't hit a ball. Fuck you. You're an asshole. It's like, why do these people find the time to follow people they hate and then comment? I'm like, get a life.
Yeah, I think, the way it is, bodybuilders themselves, like this sport has allowed their fans and followers to act a certain way towards us.
Right.
It seems like, other stars, because they get paid more money, they know they don't need to interact with their fans as much as we do. So they're getting good money, so they can basically just post a picture and don't even look at that picture for 5 days. Yeah. And have 50.
I don't look at any comments. I get negative. I don't even know. People tell me what people. I'm like, I don't care. I don't even want to know. I post something and I leave it. I don't even. You'll never see me. Very rarely I'll respond in post.
It's I respond for you, Dave. So
I know you do. Lee reads everything. He knows everything that's going on social media.
When the magazines used to come out too, it was like people would get a magazine, they'd read about the person and they'd appreciate it. You'd do a seminar or guest posing, people would come and you're respected. But now everyone, like I said, it's got a voice on Instagram. Everyone's 6'5", 400 pounds, and all they do is talk shit. It's like the respecters going, yes, you're going to be hardcore fans that love you, but there are so many of these people. I'm sure Zach does it too. When I get abused by these people, I look at their profile picture and I look at their page and I'm like, seriously, it's like, oh my God, I'm thinking to myself, generally I write them a nice message. I'm like, look, I understand why you're angry. I've seen your pictures. I know going through stage 4 cancer is hard on the body and it's stuff like that, but just hang in there, buddy. Or I give them encouragement too, because I'm like, look, I've looked at your pictures and you must be the mentally toughest person I know, because if I look like you, I would have fucking long ago. So just hang in there. I'll give you that mental toughness, mate.
It's like half of these guys will send abuse at you, and then I look at who they're following, and they're following all bodybuilders, and I'm saying, you're calling me gay because I'm posing in underpants, but you're following 50 oily men. So tell me something. Is there something you want to tell me? Is there something? Have you been basically, disrespected or fucking been rejected by a bodybuilder or something? Right. It's like all these guys feel like they can say anything to us. Basically, we won't say nothing.
It's the anonymity thing, Zach, and that's why I tell a lot of bodybuilders. I said, look, you got to post on social media. I understand because it's going to be good for your business. Don't worry. First of all, the people who post responses most of the time are the negative people. The people who like you and who think that you're great are watching your posts. They're your subscribers. They may not even hit like because they just want to see what you're putting up every day. Don't get so worried about what people are saying on Instagram. It doesn't matter. It has no bearing on what you're going to be able to sell, your popularity, your placing with the judges. And I think these guys get so bent out of shape and they start arguing with these guys, and that's the worst thing you can do. And then secondly, they get offended also. Wait 1 second. They get offended too if you critique, people. Now, look, if I'm online and we're journalists here, right? Essentially, we're critiquing athletes. People get personally offended if we don't like something, or we point out something about their physique that needs improvement, or something that doesn't look right, or they're not hitting a pose right, and all of a sudden we become their enemy because we constructively gave criticism of their physique when it has nothing to do with how we feel about them as a person. So,
no, but the thing about it, Dave, is it's like this, and people keep going on about 90s bodybuilders and now bodybuilders, and they keep saying, oh, RxMuscle, these old timers keep bringing up the old school bodybuilders and keep comparing. But the thing what you got to remember is, I'm not being funny, but when I was getting into bodybuilding, there was like 10 different people who I looked up to and said, oh, I like that physique, I like that physique, I like that physique, I like that physique. Now I cannot say that. I'm sorry to say, and I'm competing with these guys, and even though, like, I'm not on their level, I can basically say there's not anybody who I look around and I say, oh, me, I want to look like that.
Right.
So the problem is there's something is gone wrong in the sport. We haven't gone forward. So where have we gone?
Here's a good analogy too. When you study, literature in school, right? You read certain authors, okay?
Yeah.
And you read Shakespeare, you read Henry James, you read whoever the people are. You don't.
Dr. Seuss.
Some generations of writers were better than others, and that's just the way it is. Just because a generation passes doesn't mean that person's writing has to be intercalated or integrated into the school curriculum. You only read the best writers, and that's the way it is. Just because one era of bodybuilding happened to have great people, it doesn't mean this era sucks. It just means that maybe that era had more talent, okay? And it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with anything other than the fact that maybe that generation, there was a lot of great bodybuilders there. You could try to find patterns and stuff like that, but there'll be new generations that are going to be better than the 90s eventually. Maybe at the present moment, and I think we're finally entering a new age of bodybuilding, but I think there was a lull there for a while where the physiques were not better than the 90s. And so there's nothing wrong with us as journalists pointing out that this particular bodybuilder from 1996 might have been better than this bodybuilder at 2016. And that's just the fact. And that's what my job and Lee's job and your job is as a commentator, is to point out the superlatives and to point out constructively how people can make improvements to their physique.
And I think it happens in all sports too, because you even look at some of the Olympic sports back in the day when you had like the Carl Lewises, the Ben Johnsons and everyone. You had all these different runners that were fantastic. And then there was a lull period for a while. Yes, you still had some good runners, but then it wasn't until really Usain Bolt come along and brought excitement back. So it's in all sports where there'll be like this big competition going on with all these greats, and then it would die off for a while, and then another one will come back, because really, since Lance Armstrong and that's gone from the bicycling lately, it's been pretty fucking boring. Who watches that anymore type thing? So, but then again, there'll be another Lance come along soon, and it'll be exciting again for the people that watch it. Same with when I used to watch car racing, the Dale Earnhardts and stuff like that. Right. And then it died off, and then some younger drivers came in, and it made it exciting again. So it happens in all sports. You got these ebb and flows.
Yeah, same with boxing. Like how crap has heavyweight boxing been? All of a sudden, Tyson Fury's come along and he's brought excitement back into the sport. Yep. You see, same as Conor McGregor. UFC was crap for a bit, and then he brought excitement back into it. There's always one person in every sport brings the young generation back into that sport again when you think it's going to die. And that's where I think now, with the bodybuilding we're out, we got, some young good stars coming up now. So, and they have to realize that there is no rush. They're at a level now, Olympian level. They just need to chip away and not do anything stupid and try to put on too much size and ruin their physiques,
It's like the whole Hottie Chupin thing. Remember we pointed out the fact that his shoulders looked a little suspect. They were lumpy looking. That's our critique as analysts, okay? It has nothing to do with the fact that we don't like Hottie Chupin. We like Hottie Chupin. We like his physique. We pointed something out, but everyone takes everything personally. And that's, sorry, that's just the way it is, Yeah,
I'm not being funny, but, everybody up on that Olympia lineup, if you're a judge, you can see some site injections.
Of course.
So So the thing of the matter comes down to whether he's got whatever he puts in his shoulders, it doesn't matter to the judges, because if it needs to be a criteria saying that, if anything looks suspect, then we're going to mark you down. Make it clear. Right. Let's not speculate that, this is the reason he got third. This is,
Yeah. The judges judge what's up there. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Like, so, I'm not being funny. Like, even though he's got shoulder injection, a site injection in his shoulder, they look good.
Right. I was going to say, if it was that bad, he would have placed out of the top 6. He wouldn't have placed third.
Exactly. He
didn't get marked down for that. That's what he deserved, third. And Brandon was great, and Ramy was great. I mean, that's all there is to it.
I got to break it to you, Dave. I was watching MD early this morning, and they had Sean Clarita on, and Ron asked him, "Did you do this because of what Lee Priest said?" He goes, "No, Lee Priest had no part in my decision, so I can let that rest with you now, Dave."
Oh, really? Well, I asked him the same question, and he said, "Yes, Lee Priest did make me do it." No, you know what I said to him? I asked him, I said, "Hey, Sean, had you won the Olympia, would you have done the Legions Open?" He said, "No, of course not." And I said, so it was almost like, it was actually almost good that you lost, because it pushed you to a level where you wanted to go, but you hadn't done that yet because you felt like, well, I'm the Olympia champ, I don't need to do it. So I think it worked out better for him in the sense.
He did say, though, with Ron, though, he would love to do both. He'd love to do the 212 and the Open, so he'd love to do both.
Well, I gave him an even better idea. So first of all, I'm going to go on a campaign for him, because they got to change the rule. The rule's ridiculous. And I wanted to ask you guys about this. What do you think about this rule they have that if you qualify for 2 divisions at the Olympia, you have to pick one? You can't do both.
You should be able to do both. If you're qualified for it, you shouldn't. And people go, "Oh, then why have the 212?" Because there's still lots of 212s who don't have that freak factor, who can't do the Open. But he is legitimately qualified by winning an Open show, showing that he can stand with the Open. So he should be able to do it. And like I said, it's one extra competitor. It's not like the whole 212's going to do the 212 and then go to the Open. It's one guy. So let's just say Derek throughout the year won the Arnold Classic. Okay, he's qualified to do the Open now. Then he should be able to do both. But I said there's only going to be less than a handful of guys that can win the 212 and win an Open show to go into the Open Olympia. So it doesn't take anything away. And Ron said something like, well, there may be these figure girls who want to do the physique in the women's. 2 different things. It's not like, this is bodybuilding. And like I said, if it qualified, do them.
Yeah, the thing about it is, if it doesn't, affect him going on stage earlier on and later on, they don't clash, then why not?
Right.
Why shouldn't he earn some extra money if he can?
Sure.
Exactly.
It's like back in the day with Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders playing 2 sports. There was
and
they had crossover in the seasons. They had to actually make accommodations for them. But it made so much excitement for them.
The excitement from that, if he, say, won the 212 and then he's going in the Open, imagine just that excitement now. He's going in the Open. It's really like the old days of Franco and Arnold, when they had the 2 winners go at it together, remember? And people used to always say, even when Phil Heath was winning and Flex Lewis was winning, why don't we get the winners of both to compete like they used to do?
Yeah, we said it a million times.
Yeah, it would have been great. So if it qualified, like I said, it doesn't affect the running of the show. It doesn't affect anything else. And if he's in shape, and as Zack said, you're there to make a payday. Get the money while you're in shape and get as much as you can, because, depending how long you got into sport, you got to get it while you're there.
Let's imagine like if Sean competed in most of the Open classes and he won them, then basically, they've got this stupid rule that first place guy, qualifies for the Olympians, then second and third don't. So if the first place guy's already qualified, why not give the qualification to the second place?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Because isn't it all about getting bums on the seats for the final?
Of course. Well, let me ask you guys this question. Let's say they won't change the rule because they're stuck in their ways, okay? And they make them choose. Lee, if you were given that choice, let's say you qualified for both, would you do the Open or would you do the 212, and why?
Well, see, I've only ever known the Open. So the Open I would do for the money reasons and stuff like that. And
now the 212 Lee pays $50,000 for the winner, and he could win.
Isn't $50,000? You probably get 50 for what, 6th or 7th. I think 75 is 7th, isn't it? So
might be
money wise, but even then you can still going on stage in the Open as a shorter guy like I used to, getting 6th at the Olympia, the year I got 5th against Dorian and Kevin and them, I still made a name for myself, because even though I didn't win it, people go, but shit, Lee held his own.
Right.
But then there is the other aspect, like Sean has said before and other people have said, like with Flex Lewis, you could be the champion in that sport rather than be 4th or 5th in an Open. You're not the best. You might look the best, but sometimes you don't get the first place. But you could say, I'm 7-time 212 champ or 5-time 212 champ. You are the number one in that category. So it just depends if you want to be the number one guy in that category or be a great champion.
What would you do? I'm asking you.
Because I've only known the Open, I'd do the Open, because I know I could hang with the Open, so I'd do the Open.
Right. Zach, what about you?
I think personally, like, you know, if you won that class already,
yeah, Zach, I want to see you in the 212, Zach.
He weighed 212 when he was born.
Yeah. So, you know, if you won that class already, and you know, and you think to yourself, you know what, I want a bigger challenge, or you're at the weight limit now, because Flex Lewis was so long at that weight limit, you know what I mean? They were finding it hard to diet down to that class for the last couple of years. So he had to lose muscle tissue.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about Sean Clarita, who's 174 pounds, so that's not an issue for him.
Yeah, that's not an issue for him. So it all depends there. What does he want? Does he want to be the giant killer? Then if he wants to be the giant killer, then go and slay the giants.
Right.
And you know what? You'll get more respect for that.
That's what I said when I interviewed him. I said, look, you already won the Olympia, so you got nothing to prove. You put those guys behind you already. So now, if you do the Open, the higher you place at the Olympia in the Open, the more prestige you're going to get, because people are going to respect the fact that you actually won the 212. And now you're, as a champion, Olympia champion, you're going into the Open class. If he places top 6 at the Open, I mean, that to me, I think is a much bigger accomplishment, you know.
Exactly.
Especially at 174 pounds, you know.
I think I got I got top 6 3 or 4 times, and I think he could. But you say 174, you got to remember, let's just say a year training, he puts on 3 or 4 pounds on that small frame of his, 4 pound, 5 pound of muscle.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to look even freakier.
Yeah.
And we know his conditioning's on point. We know his round muscle bellies. We know his shape. So, and people go, yeah, but this is the Olympia. There's bigger guys. It doesn't matter. Look at the Olympia this year. If he had been there this year, he would have almost, I think, made top 6 because his conditioning and shape alone. And all these times, it only takes a bigger guy just to slip a little bit. And Sean's pushing right in there. And he proved it. He proved it last weekend, you know. Sergio and that. Even Regan was good, but Sean was just that little bit crisper. And a shorter guy like that in condition, your eyes automatically go to him. It's like 2019 with Hardy. Everyone just kept looking at Hardy because his conditioning was so great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for him to compete in the Open. You know why? It'll make these bigger guys diet down properly.
Exactly.
You're right.
I said that before too, because they're thinking, I don't want to get beat by these short guys coming in shape.
Right.
You watch the bigger guys turn up in condition.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, could you imagine, like, half of them will say, oh, I got beaten by a dwarf. What the fuck?
Well, think about it. If you got Clarita in the Open, you got Clarita, you have Hadi Chupin, you have William Bonac in there, you have
Flex Lewis.
Flex Lewis, and you would even have, what's his name, Nick Walker, who's not that tall either. You'd have a really, aside from Big Ramy, I mean, you have a pretty short Olympia lineup, and, you know, Labrada's obviously taller, but you know, that's a pretty, you know, interesting group of short guys that could
be a top 5 right there. They're all in shape, easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like even the Open class aren't really tall, are they now? Apart from Ramy.
No, that's what I'm saying. It would be a great top 6 because they're all short, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's a good idea for him to do Open because it'll make a lot of people have to come in on the A game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so definitely
off topic.
And that's what it.
Off topic.
And that's what But I think that's what the bigger guys too will realise coming in condition. Yes, because I think so many big guys do try to play the size game and the weight game. They look at the scales, 280, 280. Come in at like 272. Guess what? 272 shredded. You're going to look 290 on stage.
Right.
You won't be weighing 280, but you're going to look bigger than 280 because of the conditioning. The skin's tight, the muscles just busting at the skin. You know, when all those lines come around the shoulders and the biceps are popping out, and you lose another inch off your waist, everyone knows the illusion on stage is so much greater. Because you'd never think Sean was 174. You'd look at him and go, well, maybe 210. You'd think over 200. So, these bigger guys need to just forget about the weight of the scale and just go by the mirror and the conditioning on how they look.
I'm sure Labrada is thinking, as he's listening to this, is probably saying, man, I blew it, because I think he tried to come in too big, and that might have been his problem. Or he had some kind of a water issue, because if he came in, like you said, a little drier and harder, he would have looked just as big, maybe bigger. And his detail would have been so. He probably, could have moved into that second spot, possibly.
But the problem is, when you got a guy like Ramy, Mr. Olympia, everybody thinks they have to play that size game,
right?
And so they always come in probably like maybe 5 to 7 pounds heavier than they should. So that's why a lot of people this year missed the mark, and you had people creep up in places, and that's where guys like Nick Walker and people like that came up and beat them.
Well, a perfect example of that used to be Flex Wheeler. He even said, remember when he won his first Arnold, he weighed like 218. The guy looked incredible. His muscle roundness, his shape, he just looked like incredible. But then when Ronnie come along, Flex tried to sit around the 235, 240. He still looked good, but he looked way bigger when he was 218, just due to detail in his muscle bellies and shape. At 218, he looked 250. At 240, he looked like a bit of a softer 240.
And people forget he plays second to Dorian, right? I mean, at 218 or 220 around there. So obviously Dorian was the biggest guy of all, at the time. So Flex didn't look that much smaller than him,
No.
No. So that's why it all matters about, your muscle bellies as well. If you've got small joints and your muscle bellies are big, and they flare out, you're going to look a lot bigger than you think, I think the problem is what we have is all of us, especially big guys like me, we have that thing that we think, oh, we're losing too much size, we're coming in too small, small. And then, and it's self-destruction for ourselves, so we sabotage our own, prep, what I mean? Thinking that we got to push the carbs, we got to carb up too much, or you know what I mean? And by the time you're doing stuff like that, making your body do something when it's been depleting for that long, you end up looking smooth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sharpness is important on stage. Absolutely, no doubt about it. I want to change subject for the last segment here, and I got to ask Zach. I don't know if Zach's been watching any of our shows, but we've had a lot of debate on the After Hour show about the Earth being flat and not being a globe. Are you a flat earther, or do you believe that we live on a round globe?
You know what it is, Dave, man? Like I said to you, man.
Like I said, let's leave it at that.
No, the thing is, I believe we have gone into what's it now, into what you can call it space, because you don't know where Earth ends and space begins.
Right.
So just because you're flying over Earth that high altitude, because you haven't really gone into space yet, unless you have gone back to the moon, and we haven't been back to the moon. So I can understand Jimmy's what he's saying.
Well, Jimmy thinks that the moon landing is a farce. He thinks it's like a movie they made. Do you believe that we went to the moon?
Like I said, that time in Nixon and that bullshit, I don't believe that at all. Totally, you know what I mean. But like I said to you, is the thing is, there's so many independent people, multi-millionaires with money at the moment. So if they want to prove the flat Earth theory, they could have done it by now.
I know. Yeah.
Talking about
no, he's saying, yeah. We kind of disproved the flat Earth already, but there's a lot of. I find that these theories so interesting because they're so. I'm into creativity, so I'm like these are so. It would make a great movie if someone made a movie about us finding out that the Earth is actually flat. But in reality, I mean, it sounds ludicrous, right?
Dave, there's another theory as well. Do you know what that is?
What?
Basically, they're saying, the Antarctica wall, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, the reason you can't explore that is because other side of Antarctica, there is more land out there.
Right. That's the flat.
What about multi-universes? Wait,
keep going with it. What were you going to say, Zach? Follow that up.
Yeah, so basically they're saying the way there's an ice wall around our world,
right?
There's other worlds as well. So they're saying the Earth is round, what it is, what you're looking like, but there's more planets around it. But because we haven't got the technology and the fuel to fly that far out, we can never go there. But they can come and see us. So they're saying the aliens are not coming from the sky; they're already down here.
Right.
So.
But my problem with that theory is if we could fly into space and look down at the Earth, why can't we land on another part of the Earth where they are? Because we could we're rotating around this Earth. So if they're on the other side, which is where I thought Lee was, but maybe he's not. Why can't we just drop down on the other side? You know.
I read Australia don't exist.
The thing about it, they might have done it. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Look what I found, Dave. I'm going to find out. Look what I found in the cupboard. Look at this.
Whoa!
Look, inside this bag, I don't think it's seen the light of day. I don't think it's seen the light of day since the Arnold Classic 2006. Look, the cape.
Is that the actual costume that you wore?
Yes, this is the cape I wore at the PDI shows and the Arnold Classic on stage. My mum made it. It's a very big, heavy Superman cape. Look.
His mom, who happens to have the last name Kent.
Maybe I should auction it off. Look at that.
I love it. I wouldn't sell it. I shouldn't sell that at all. I think you should put it on right now.
Do you think the Smithsonian might want? Hold on. I'm going to go check. Lee, I'm going to go see if this Earth is round or flat. I'll be back in a minute.
Lee, when I build the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, will you send me the cape for to hang up as an exhibit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
we'll have someone make a wax figurine of you and put the cape on it and stuff like that. We'll see.
Just go buy a Smurf and put it on a Smurf.
Oh, Lee, you need to streak in that. Nothing on
I did that actually Batman costume one night. I got really drunk with the wife and a little bit of MDMA, and there was a photo of me standing in the kitchen naked, wearing a Batman helmet and a cape, naked, shoving my face in cake.
Now that you should auction off. That might get you some money if you can find.
I thought it was artistic. It was a very artistic shot, Dave.
Yeah, well, you're very.
And it was I must have had some Viagra too because it was a nice picture. The angles were great. I looked good and big and hard.
You're a very creative guy, Lee. So I wouldn't put it past you to come up with a good idea.
It's all about the angles, Dave. It's all about the angles.
Just make sure she didn't have no kryptonite because Mr. Floppy will come out.
Mr. Fluffy comes out when you have too much like that. Not that I know, but I've heard.
Oh my God! So Zach, what's going on over there in UK? How's the gym situation over there now?
Basically, the gyms are back open now. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're still coming out with bullshit saying like, you know what, cases are going up. So around Christmas, we might have another lockdown.
Oh my God. Have you been vaccinated?
No, I've not been vaccinated yet.
I could be coming to England next month. Actually, next month
Lee's got vaccinated enough times for all three of us.
Hey, guess what, though, Dave? Guess what? They're giving booster shots now. So I've had 2 AstraZeneca and a Pfizer in like a month's time. I'm going for the Moderna. I'm going for the Moderna next.
I hear they're doing a long-term study on you, Lee, because you're the only person who's taken 3 shots or 4 shots so far. So they figured, you know what? If this guy's still alive, it can't be too bad for you.
He's addicted to vaccines.
And look at me. I'm still normal. What the fuck?
You know what, Zach? What happened was when Lee got the second shot, the one side of his body that was atrophying, it started growing again. So he went and got a third shot. And now his body's completely balanced. So he's trying to score a 4th and a 5th shot. But they're starting to question why he wants these shots. It's actually performance enhancing.
They're very anabolic. It's better than growth hormone. It's great.
What they didn't tell people was that when they were, these shots are messenger RNA shots. So what they're doing is they're intercalating themselves into our DNA and changing it. What they didn't tell you was that it's actually deleting the myostatin gene, and in doing so, it's enabling you to grow more. If you tell bodybuilders that, they'll be lined up to get their vaccines. I promise you.
Dave, since I've had the free shot, I've had 3 shots, and let me tell you, doing leg press with my third leg and curls with my extra arm is so much easier. It's so much easier to train. It's like I got a spotter.
Lee, we're going to start calling you Tripod Man from now on.
Well, like I said, from Monday, where international flights are open, so I think maybe the end of November I'll be in the UK. All I got to do is get the COVID test before I go there, and I get a COVID test when I land. But that's it. So hopefully the end of November I'll be there. And Muscle Lad Jibs up in Scotland, I got a seminar to do there in a couple of months.
Look, all you got to do is leak it. All the press has to do is leak the fact that your penis will get bigger or your breasts will get bigger from these vaccines, and people will be. You'll get everyone completely vaccinated in probably a week's time. That's all you got to do.
Dave, you know these.
It doesn't even have to work. Just tell people it'll work, and people will go get vaccinated.
Well,
Dave, go ahead, Lee. Go ahead.
Well, I think it does work because, like I said, I had the 3 shots, the 2 AstraZeneca and Pfizer.
Yeah.
I was rehearsing that movie scene with a guy that was COVID positive for 5 hours. We're fighting and wrestling and doing MMA stuff. He's sweating all over me. He came up positive that night, and I went and had tests for 2 weeks, and I was negative the whole time.
That's crazy.
Hey,
When I said works, I meant like, will it make your penis bigger or your breast bigger?
That's what we want to know. That's what
hold on.
What?
Yeah. A little bit bigger.
What'd you get?
Just a smidge, but us as bodybuilders, every half inch counts. It doesn't matter.
Steve Blackwood would be lined up in 3 seconds for that. Oh wow! You know, did you hear?
What it doesn't give you in length.
Johnson and Johnson gives you a bigger Johnson. Did you hear that, Lee?
Yeah, gives you more girth. I was like a deodorant can. Now I'm like the Folgers coffee.
Hey guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Lee, thanks. Zach, we love having you on the show. You know you're always welcome, man. And
it was great, guys.
Where could people? Again,
I'll have to let Zack know when I get to England because we'll have to hook up Zack when I get to England.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Just don't tell the UK BFF you're coming to have lunch with me or anything. We'll have to do it secretly.
No, what we'll have to do, we've got to take a picture and then, you know what I mean? And just.
Oh, your career's over. Your career's done.
There you go. Yeah. That's it. Believe me. You guys can be dangerous together for sure.
But there's always another universe, Zack. You can always go to another universe.
All right.
At this moment, I'll be going to fucking Disneyland.
I was going to ask you, Zach, how come you haven't moved to Florida yet? I could definitely see you doing that. What are you hanging out in the UK for?
Because I love the boring UK weather.
I definitely see you as a Florida guy, man, hanging out in the sun.
Listen, I've been to Florida loads of times. It's one of the best places to be out there. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
And especially with your guys, like you don't take the COVID that serious out there as well.
No one does.
So it's not like New York, is it?
No,
my God.
No, there's no rules.
I love the UK. I love the UK. I love all that history. I love everything in the UK. Tell the Queen I hope she gets well too, Zack. I hear the Queen's been a little bit under the weather. Actually, see, you can't really see, but see up here, this letter here. Look, see this one here. I actually wrote the Buckingham Palace, and they replied back to me. And let me tell you, that is the nicest letter, paper, stationery I've ever felt in my life.
Too bad the Queen never signed that, Lee. In reality,
no, the lady in waiting signed it. Lady in waiting.
Okay, gotcha.
The Queen wishes to thank you for your letter and kind messages. Her Majesty has been deeply moved by the loyalty and blah, 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 blah. See that?
Well,
the Queen and I like that.
Guys, I hate to wrap this up, but Baxter is trying to dig holes in my floor here because he's got to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to say, c'est la vie. Thank you, Lee. Have a beautiful day. Zach, get a good night's sleep, and we'll see you all back again next week.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Like I said, like my tail.